If you watch professional dunkers like Jordan Kilgannon or Isaiah Rivera, or NBA players who jump extremely high like Anthony Edwards and Ja Morant, you would probably know that most of the people that you would watch that jump high like them are very light and very lean and very strong for their body weight. So how do they get the strength to jump that high when they're so lean and so light? In this video, I want to talk to you about the differences in hypertrophy and strength training, how they increase your vertical, and how to implement them in your training so you can get that ultimate goal of increasing your vertical. So to define what training for hypertrophy and training for strength is, hypertrophy is as simple as just growing the size of your muscles. So think of a bodybuilder. That is what hypertrophy training is. And to train for strength, you are training to lift as much weight as possible. And in our case, we are trying to work for relative strength. What relative strength is how strong you are compared to your body weight. And that is exactly what these professional athletes have to be able to jump so high. They are extremely strong compared to how much they weigh. So in that case, is strength training just better than hypertrophy training for your vertical jump? Generally, yes, but if you're talking specific and technically, it is not exactly better, but it is something that you will need both hypertrophy and strength training to increase your vertical jump, and let me explain why. More so if you're a beginner, but also if you're more of an advanced athlete and you're looking to do more specific training, hypertrophy is good to build a base of strength to be able to handle higher loads and more specific training later in the year. And growing the specific muscles that you're going to need to jump higher is going to increase your fast twitch fibers, your type 2 fibers in your muscle to actually be able to jump higher. The more your muscle grows, the stronger those type 2 fibers are going to be. So these muscles would include your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads, and your calves. Those would be the main muscles that you're going to be using in a vertical jump. So the size and growth of those muscles is going to inherently be able to increase your vertical jump, especially as a beginner. But again, just because you're a beginner doesn't mean that if you're a more advanced athlete, you shouldn't add hypertrophy training in your training. You should still have that implemented in a certain point in your training, and specifically when you need to build more of a base of strength to be able to handle higher loads, like I said before. So since our goal is not to be a bodybuilder, this is why you're not training that hypertrophy all the time, and that's obviously why you see these professional athletes aren't big muscle guys that can just jump high. They are light, lean, and strong as hell. So you want to get strong in those compound movements when you stack that on top of hypertrophy training. So that hypertrophy training is preparing you for that strength training, that relative strength training, to then be able to also again handle later loads and more specific loads that is gonna be more specific to increasing your vertical jump. And depending on what kind of athlete you are, this is usually where you would actually see the most progress in your vertical jump gains. So to put everything I said in simple terms, aka monkey terms, hypertrophy training is important to prepare you for strength training, and strength training is important to prepare you for more specific and more intense training in the future. So I get this is pretty general, but my point is that you're training to handle more specific training and more intense training in the future to eventually, ultimately, get that goal of increasing your vertical jump to whatever your goal is. And this is why vertical jump training is a long-term thing. You got to think long-term. You can't think short-term, unless if you have some kind of event coming up. Then yeah, sure, think in the short term, get what you need to get done, and make sure you have the right training in that specific moment, depending on whatever it is. If you have a basketball game, or if you are a dunker and you have like a contest or a show or something, that is when short-term planning comes into play. But generally, you want to think in the long term, because it's not about the training now that you're doing that's going to get your vertical jump higher. It's about the training all together. So think of it as a whole year of training that's going to get you to that specific goal, not, oh, I did this for a month or 2 months or 3 months and my vertical only increased by this much. No, you got to do a whole lot of training for a whole lot of time, and that is what really is going to get you the results that you want to look for. So If you enjoyed this video and you found value out of it, like the video, comment any suggestions you want to see, comment any questions that you have about vertical jump training, and I'll see if I can make videos about that. And if you want to see my journey to dunking on 10 feet or more tips like this on how to jump higher for dunking and your sport, subscribe to the channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.